Zelensky is more than just an actor. He's the finger puppet of Kolomoisky, this oligarch. And do you know who Kolomoisky also financed to the tune of $50,000 a month, plus additional benefits of different sorts? Hunter Biden. Yes. In 2014, Burisma, the Ukrainian oil company, gas company, excuse me, hired Hunter Biden to be on its board of directors to the tune of $50,000 a month. Who do you think controls Burisma? Kolomoisky, the same guy who manufactured Zelensky as president of Ukraine.
Oh, unfortunately, this man is a man of the truth, but he is no longer with us anymore, big guy. Apparently, he passed away. He would have been 56 next month. Gonzalo Lira. He was a Chilean descent living in America, and he was one of the first in the manosphere. A lot of people used to follow him when that was relatively new on the internet. And he came out with a lot of truths, red-pilling young men, traditional men, about the pitfalls of the modern woman. And he took it to the next level. He met a girl over there in Ukraine, and he moved over to Ukraine. But always being a truth advocate, he likes telling it like it is. And that's what he earned the label of a misogynist, which, of course, today there's a lot of people who come out with a lot more, and they don't even get that label anymore. He was a pioneer of truth, free speech, and coming out and saying it like it is. And you know what? The truth hurts, and a lot of people don't like it. They jailed him over there in Ukraine for speaking up against the government of Zelensky, like we just heard. And, you know, it's an amazing thing that he passed away in jail of pneumonia.
That's what they said.
That's what they said. And you have people in America saying, hey, America, you gave them over $100 billion, yet you allow them to lock up an American citizen, a journalist, for telling the truth. And what's going on? Why didn't you just kick him out of the country and send him back home?
That was an amazing introduction to what we're about to discuss. Good day, brothers and sisters, and welcome to the show. I have a few theories about the reason why he died in jail and is not with us. Because, well, if you want to do the straight talk, that's because he was speaking of inconvenient truth. He was inconvenient journalist at the time. He was talking about the things that not supposed to mention. That Ukraine was always the most corrupt country before the war, during the war, and now. And that's not according to Alex Saz Show or Glenn Herring. It's according to all the New York Times, Washington Post, and all other, the establishment media that you will follow. I know you don't if you listen to this show. However, Glenn, I think the most important reason why he died.
What's that?
He was not a transgender basketball player.
Oh, there you go. Oh, he was, they said over here, you read that he was spreading out Kremlin propaganda in Ukraine, and they didn't like it because it could reveal certain things. So they jailed somebody. Like, it's against the law over there. You know, yeah, we're free speech advocates too, but you know, not every country is like the great United States of America or the slightly fallen down Canada under Trudeau leadership.
Not really slightly.
Well, it's getting worse. I mean, you know, free speech advocates, you have to watch what they say over here because you have the Trudeau Klansmen coming after you because they don't want the truth to get out there because people might start questioning them even more. You know, after all that's happened, still today, at least 25% of eligible Canadian voters would still vote for Trudeau.
Oh, because that LGBTQ slide is very slippery. And I bet you that 25% are women.
Could be, but that you just said the LGBTQ and S and this and that. It keeps going on and on. They just keep adding to it every 6 months. That seems to be dissipating. It's falling into out of relevance in the media now because we have real issues, pressing issues that are at hand right now. We have a problem with the borders. Okay, that's the federal government. And provincial governments, you have a problem with the healthcare system and the education system. It's all breaking down. It's ironic, Champ, that everything when it comes to government, whatever they have their hands in, it always is going horribly wrong all the time.
Don't you dare say, though, Glenn, don't you dare say it's anything to do with immigration. Uncontrollable immigration, not even illegal immigration, but immigration that's encouraged by the state federally. Like this is today, I heard it on CJAD. Oh, if you tie it into immigration, you're probably racist. They didn't use those words, but that's what they meant.
Yeah, well, that you know what? People can have their own point of view. They're POV, so what? That's for them.
The problem is it's not their own point of view. That's the government propaganda. It's the government press release. All the legacy news channels that you watch now, especially like CJAD. It's a radio station in Montreal. It's the only talk radio show that people have access to as they drive to and from work. And that's straight up just, it's owned by CTV, which is owned, I don't know if it's owned by Bell or not, but you tell me they are unbiased? Of course they're not. They're peddling liberal propaganda.
Yeah, wouldn't you like to get paid by the government for actually putting out the truth or waking people up and, you know, the government actually paying us to say, hey, you're giving a good service because you can give a lot of people another perspective or another point of view. What is the ideology behind? No, they just want one point of view. It's whatever suits their narrative, and anybody who thinks outside of that line or that view is totally wrong, and they're against us, and they're against the state, and you're either with us or against us. All this propaganda BS that comes out.
And then Trudeau will gaslight it, say, oh, we're going to Western Ukraine to protect Western democracy for all of us, especially here in Canada. And let's bring a Nazi into the parliament building. You know, so there's a disconnect. And if we're talking about segueing back to Gonzalo Lira's story, the fact that, you know, we allow this to happen in the first place, you don't have to agree with it, but it was an American citizen that died there. Right. And you tell me after $1 billion of money that was sent to Ukraine, they couldn't at least protect his health. If he violated some local laws, okay, you know, take care of that legally. But he was straight up he joined the suicide list without being suicided. You know, he made some things. And we were worried about him. The episode that we did like 6 months ago when he got arrested at the border trying to cross over to Hungary. And he said, I don't know if I'll make it or not. He already knew that. Now, going back to the original conversation that we had at the gym this morning, you said it's odd. You know, original Redpill man goes to Ukraine to pursue a woman or a different lifestyle, but with a woman. Also, we don't really know exactly, do we know if he's dead or not? Did we see, or is it, you know, I'm not trying to be cynical, with what's his name? The Al-Qaeda guy, Bin Laden, right? We never saw the body. They told us, oh, they got him, and then they just threw him in the water, right, in the ocean. Like the worst, the most disrespectful thing they can do to the Muslim, right? I mean, I hope the family will get the body, and if they do.
Can you imagine how much power the media has where the people don't even question it? Just actually, you know, many times in the gym, you see people just repeating what they heard in the media. You try to give them a different point of view, and they go, no, that sounds conspiracy theory to me. Like just a little thing to try and break the ice into a better realm for them to understand what's going on. No. They don't even want to know. In other words, they want to be perpetually fed BS because that's the narrative, and it's easy to follow. It's a little bit tougher to lead. But herein lies the problem. In all the countries in the world where you have governments being able to do whatever they want, it's because men, which are supposed to be the ones who fight for what's right in a country, and the women want that. You know, they want good men to stand up and protection and provide and preside and make things better for the society in that country. No, they relinquish their responsibilities and they allow the government to skip and dance all over them, all over their rights, all over their freedoms, all over what they believe in, and, you know, try and put out a couple of truth bombs out there, and they rip it apart. Or like we know here, you know, you get banned from YouTube, you get thrown in you screwed jail, We see it all the time. We've heard it and we understand it. So this is what you're up against. But instead of fighting the enemy like that, we have to think of being pro the opposite. Pro of just putting our word out there. We don't want to fight the enemy. We just want to wake up our brothers and our sisters. That's all.
That's a good point. Like I'll give you a vegan example. I have, because of the yoga studio I had a lot of vegan friends. And they weren't just vegan friends, they were vegan activists who were very proactive in the fight against unfair treatment of animals, right? And maybe there's some common ground there. However, I think what you label yourself is important. So if you label yourself as a warrior of a cause, forever you will find yourself in that battle. So how do you go above the battle? Like, okay, there are predators that are out there hunting, right? We'll give an example of the wolf in the middle of the woods. He stalked the prey in the middle of the woods, but then he sometimes can get into trouble. Maybe there's a bear that'll come out or mountain lion and can get him. But then you get an eagle that soars above the woods and nothing can touch him. He just sees the prey. I mean, they are both predators. They both eat meat. They both hunt, but they have totally different approach to the thing. And instead of being like fighters, can we be magicians? I don't know. What would you consider yourself in that case? I know. Put you on the spot there.
No. When you were talking about eagles looking over, I think that's the whole concept behind the American bald eagle. That's the whole concept.
That's the concept, right?
Yeah. It's the special thing. It's the all-seeing, sees everything, it knows what's going on everywhere. A special vision and a very powerful bird. It's a predator for sure.
So, what do you think? Here's my opinion. Where's my opinion? And you actually brought it up, and I agree with you that Gonzalo Lira was an opportunist in some way. And again, not to minimize what he did, not to minimize. It's awful what happened to him, brothers and sisters. But it also, he knew where he was. He knew it was a corrupt country. He knew it was a lawless country. He knew the conflict and the names and the information that he was sharing can potentially cause his demise. Now, was he a martyr or was he a businessman who made some poor choices?
Maybe a little bit of both, but you also have to see the similarities between Andrew Tate. Again, free speech, trying to wake up everybody, red pill to reality in a country, and then you get all these accusations after him. And, he was warning. He says, we're making a dent in the globalist elite plans at things. They could take us out anytime. So just to let the audience know that, no, I would never commit suicide. I would never take myself out. That's what he said. But then, boom, they came and arrested him, and, something bad could have happened there, too. You never know.
Right now, for the record, too, I feel totally sane, totally stable. I'm not suicidal. I'm in good health, and I wish not to take out myself at any point now. You have to do that. That's a disclaimer, right? So what's next for Ukraine, Glenn?
Looks like same old, but there's a few countries in the European Union that are they're getting together to go against the European Union sending more of the money over to Ukraine. That's Hungary, Viktor Orban of Hungary, and also the leader of Slovakia.
It's also an issue now, too. It's not just a war issue. It's an economical issue. The European countries don't want to buy Ukrainian produce for many different reasons. One, it's probably tainted with all the uranium-depleted ammunition. Two, it's GMO. Ukraine was the grounds for GMO because a lot of the companies sold out and bought a lot of farmland there. And they were raising GMO crops like corn and wheat and other things. And we know the problem with that is, first of all, it's sort of cheap to raise because it's ill-manufactured. And why it's ill-manufactured? Because if you grow corn, GMO corn, for example, or wheat, you cannot use that seed to replant it for the next season because you continue. That's the business model. And then when people ask, well, what's wrong with GMO? Beside all the chemical stuff that you put in your system, mRNA food kind of stuff, you also limiting your ability to replant it. So it's a good business model for the people who create it, people like Bill Gates and stuff. But it's a bad deal for Europe. it's also undercuts because it's a lot cheaper to produce it in Ukraine because of the labor and all this other stuff. They're undercutting like Polish producers, German producers, etc. So economically, Ukraine is done. There's unless we continue, by we I mean Western world, we continue to artificially send them more taxpayer money. Ukraine's not going to be able to survive. So I think it's just going to fall apart, and in a way, like it's going to be divided between nations and power interests, maybe via corporate stuff, but it's happening already. So Glenn, thank you for input today again. Sorry about your friend Gonzalo Lira. I know you know him as a man.
Yeah, any guy who goes out there saying the truth, that's what a man's supposed to do. I mean, even if you're going to step on a few toes and people have different points of view, so what? I mean, this is what we need. We need more free speech, and that way we can come to a consensus. But they make you believe that no, you can't say that. You're going to hurt my feelings, or you know, you're triggering me. Those people that get triggered, you have to remember your triggers are your own responsibility, and we're not supposed to tap dance around you, worried about how you're going to respond to something just because you don't see it in the same light as we do.
Brothers and sisters, it's been a good show. We'll see you on the next one.